The rise and fall of the Hotel Transylvania franchise. It has taken literally years, but we finally covered all 4 mainline Hotel Trans movies, with the first one being a bit of a mixed classic with a golden scene in the middle of it, and all the sequels just terrible. Today we've got them all compiled together for you, starting with a scene breakdown of the very best of Hotel Transylvania 1, followed by our full terrible breakdowns of every individual sequel. So kick your feet up, enjoy a classic Halloween franchise, even though these videos keep getting views when it's very much not Halloween. I'll spare your time rambling about each individual video on the in-betweens. So enjoy the very best of Hotel Transylvania, and then the long drawl of slop that followed. This is the amazing at first, and then terrible Hotel Transylvania franchise. Enjoy. It's Hotel Transylvania again. Not one of the later ones this time, because this series is seriously hit or miss, or maybe a slow but consistent downward spiral would be more accurate to say. Whilst later productions of the world of Hotel Transylvania bogs itself down with more ensemble cast, minimal plots, and a more deranged focus on whatever the hell you call this, the original Hotel Transylvania is what sparked all of this, so it must have been a pretty impressive spark. As I understand it, it's still just a 50-50 split, getting mixed responses between critics and audiences, but I think, especially when compared to what it later became, that there's something special about it. So let's reveal behind the capey curtain the scene that changed Hotel Transylvania 1. Now, there's a few options at hand here. The part where Johnny first arrives, Johnny and Mavis watching the sunrise for the first time, or the spark of the bad times when everything gets revealed at the dance party. But no, whilst these all have their moments, the part where Hotel Transylvania 1 really pulls in some cinematic techniques and adjusts the tone of the movie for a time is when Dracula brings Johnny into the back rooms. No, not those kind. Up to this point, Mavis has been living in her father's same hotel for 118 years, unable to leave and even deceived not to go by her father. Everyone from the Monster Kingdom is coming to visit this Halloween, and now a human has showed up too. And after being pretty unable to get rid of this guy, he's become intertwined with everybody, recognized as a Frankenstein relative after a bit of makeup. Everyone likes his company, and most importantly, Mavis has zinged and is head over heels. It's the first time Dracula has ever seen something like this, and so has decided now to make a serious decision in regards to Johnny and reveal something to him.
There's something I need to show you.
And so the two enter this dark room that's either a genuine gravesite or just Dracula's bedroom. I'm not sure which way they're implying it.
Hey, are we at a funeral right now? Oh, wait, no. It's your bed.
And now, in a surprisingly artsy shot, Dracula stands off in the distance, moonbeams shining down on him, holding a candlestick and looking up at the portrait. In a single composition alone, we've drastically changed the mood as the air is different in here, other than just the dust. And so, after Johnny's brief tangent, he comes to spot what's next.
Wow! I know her!
And this, I think, at least is one element that was really, really good in the first movie and then forever was tattered into shreds for every sequel. Johnny. As we've come to know him nowadays, he's just one dumb idiot, likes modern day trends and just going with the flow. But in this first movie, there's a whole character trait that wasn't subtracted away yet that allows for so much potential depth in his character. He is a traveler. His aspirations in life is seeing the sides of the world, meeting people at youth hostels. After somehow having so much experience already, he can sit at a table and talk about tales and stories he has in every single location there is.
How did you deal with the mobs?
Yeah, it does get pretty crazy in the summer.
Johnny's not dumb in the original, far from it. He's incredibly wise and knowledgeable, all about history and culture, anthropology. It's written to just complete Mavis and her restricted in a tower ways, but it also opens up to making him such an interesting character to see what experiences he has to tell and what lessons he has to share. But anyway.
I've seen that picture at the ruins of Lubov.
Spelt like this, by the way. Johnny knows how to pronunciate from other cultures, and it's a way to see a side of the story that even Dracula doesn't know. Look at how he scowls with a side eye that Johnny thinks he has something to say here, when Drac is clearly the one with a story to tell.
There's a whole legend around that lady.
A legend?
And yet, it piques Dracula's intrigue. For once, this is something even he is not familiar with. Perhaps he can learn an extract of the human world out of this. And so, Johnny gently takes the candles, steps forwards, and lifts it up at her, lighting up the view as he takes control over Drax's more darkened approach.
The story is that a lonely count met her by chance, and they say that no two souls were ever more meant for each other.
Coming out of 3D CGI entirely, we're now given a storybook type aesthetic, with shades of pink and purple, silhouettes of 2D characters each laid on top of each other so the camera can still pull into a sort of 3D environment, parallax scrolling taking place on the edge elements as some pieces move faster than the other on the frame.
Eventually they settled down at Castle Lubov and had a child.
Same camera motion with lengthy cross dissolves between scenes to make things feel more gentle and smooth as we learn of the happy times of a romantic experience. And whether true or not, the castle looks idyllic and bright, only emphasizing the positive attributes of this human story. Though there are dark clouds, so maybe it is just white tinted glasses.
A fire started mysteriously one night, and it killed both of them.
And now we get the reverse, camera pulling away from the events rather than into it as it attempts to escape the tragic turning point. We never see the husband's face, but we can all piece it together. And then the overexposing light obscures the image of them all, symbolically lighting them aflame until they are no more. And you can see the image distort like heat in the air, only to come back to our scene staring directly into the fire with the candle Johnny has commandeered.
When I was at the castle, I could still feel their powerful love.
Remember when Johnny used to talk like this, so somber and respectful, investing in this tale of love and being spiritual with emotions of a significant location? This is a side of Johnny I wish survived the later films because this is some of Hotel Transylvania's best. And as he comes to the end of his understanding, the candlelights slowly dip out of frame, Johnny's brightly lit positive spin is transitioning out to darkness again, as Dracula responds with...
The legend is wrong.
God, and look at the composition. A classic vampire shot, silhouetted outright with just a moonbeam to highlight, as Johnny's candle is not even directly in frame anymore.
It was only the wife that died.
It's Drac wallowing over his most depressing memory, but I love how you can see his shadow also beaming off of his collar there. Never before have we seen a shot so drained of color. I mean, look at the rest of the options from this movie. And so, he reaches up out of the frame, we get a split-second view of his hand, still wearing the engagement ring after all these years. Is this something you spotted at any other earlier point in the movie? We get this shot ever so briefly, just as brilliantly gloomy. Is that his eyes glowing to the smallest degree in there? The dust really pulling it all together just to add more to that moonbeam before we see... I mean, no one was really surprised, so it's not really much of a plot point, but there it is. Turns out Mavis's mother was also the type to fall for a complete goofball, if this face is to be believed. And as Johnny comes to the realization, looking empathetic for Dracula's struggles, Drac retorts with,
She was killed by your kind.
You can see him growing into the anger of it beforehand. And of course, that glow. Man, maybe I'm just a stickler for lighting. I wish Hotel Transylvania played a lot more with lighting. And then we fade into his version of events. Not a 2D storybook this time, but fully realized in 3D as Drac actually lived it. But to have a little bit of history, everything's in sepia. Though that way it still feels kinda storybooky, like an old fairy tale. And now we see the castle a bit more glum, aiming up at the 2D silhouette of the vampires in the window, now for some other parallels, amongst a mob of fire-wielding humans.
Honey?
Though the room may not be too decorated, the frame certainly is. This is another frame within a frame as we catch burning beams. The castle is coming down soon, and the vampires are compositionally entrapped.
Go hide. I'll take care of this.
And also notice, the couple are reversed from the storybook. More emblematic that the humans have the tale all backwards. And with those simple words, we move from a close-to shot of their faces over to their hands, holding on before letting go. Another marker of their love and the sever this action will bring. Vampire! And the whole moment is even in slow-mo, as if reliving it in a bottle as Drac returns to the memory again after seemingly thousands of times. Or just because it all moved on so fast. We can see Drac try to talk to the mob and come to a diplomatic solution, only for... it to all come to a head off screen. Drac turns to the side and we fade to just her hand. Martha! It's very simple-stranded from a plot perspective. They don't really ham much into the motions or the scenes. It's more symbolic than anything else. Does that make it more artsy or does that make it lazy? Perhaps this scene was more emblematic of the future of this franchise anyway, as even here the plot is minimalized and only implied for the sake of its young audience, I guess? Or just the fact that it didn't want to go there. And in expanding the sequel to just be Hotel Transylvania but more, perhaps this is one of the very elements that got stretched to the furthest degree. A plot that is simple, predictable, and not deepened any further. Who knows? But this next shot is stunning. A castle on fire, sparking the whole sky in red as our vampire stands watching, silhouetted in brightness now as his cape makes him the darkness. No words but the sounds of the baby crying. Apart from the commentary,
They are the real monsters.
and we fade back to that full portrait, and Johnny just dumbfounded by the devastation of it all. But it all comes full circle as we learn about what bridges the gap between this Drac and our current one.
I built this place for my love, to protect her child.
And that has been his background driving force this entire time, keeping Mavis safe. But against all he has seen up to this point with her own goals and aspirations and the influence Johnny is having himself upon everything around him, Drac has an intention in bringing him here, and it's to address this heartbreaking point.
As a father, you do everything to keep your family safe, even if you have to break their trust.
And against the world that Dracula knows, he can see that this relationship would not work, even if he's to the point of approving of the boy more.
Can you tell me for certain that if we came out in the open, everyone would accept us?
But that is just not the case. And Johnny, with his extended wisdom of all the types of people he's met across the world, knows that there is still hatred in this world.
I'll go for good this time.
And talking about it like adults in a respectful manner is finally the word that will turn Johnny away. Even if, ironically, it's not what Dracula is directly after anymore.
No. I don't want to ruin her birthday party.
And so they come to the mutual agreement of enjoying this one night and sneaking out the day after, for the sake of everybody.
The last thing I wanted was to hurt her. Or you.
And from there, they choose to back away from the moment, lightening up on jokes over being a vampire or impersonating the other monsters.
Oh, I have too many kids.
It breaks the vibe, but it's all about the two growing as a pair to like each other in a way that's genuinely endearing, if you choose to look at it that way. It's a brief piece of the total Hotel Transylvania runtime, but I think this scene is one of the highlights of the movie. The moment it chooses to change up the mood of the movie into one that's a bit more serious and mature for a moment, showcasing some filmic prowess beyond, look at what these bodies can do. And from there we have a big fun party, the dramas of everything tattering down, and the final revelation of dragging Johnny back and just trusting it all. If only this was an actual good choice and Johnny didn't immediately drop his IQ on his wedding day or something. And that to me was the film that changed Hotel Transylvania 1, for just being different to the rest. After 3 movies now of goofy cartoony hijinks cranked up to the highest level, seeing the same world through a lens like this is a breath of fresh yet dusty air. And makes me think of the alternative reality where this was the starting point where the sequels could have expanded from, apart from the still pushed under the rug plotline. Instead, we got the opposite. But hey, we covered the terrible stuff here too.
Hey, dude, man. I'm a dude, man.
This is the movie that broke Hotel Transylvania. And though it may not be as bad as the future sequels, it would not be wrong to say that this is the true start of Hotel Trans's downfall. This is Sony's terrible Hotel Transylvania 2. Hey, that's nice. Classic. So with the first movie very much covering all of the bases with Johnny and Mavis's blooming relationship, this second movie dives us right into a marriage ceremony. Is it a little fast for a girl who just turned the vampire definition of 18? Yeah. But is it an opportunity to lay out so many jokes under the basis of a monster wedding? Oh yeah!
The Monster Man.
It gives a similar excuse for a whole collection of background characters to arrive, just like in the first movie.
Welcome.
Congrats, Drac.
And with an additional spin to the mix. Though, I guess also the same as the first movie. Adding in normal humans, who react appropriately this time.
Mom and Dad! I can't believe you're all here!
And with this movie being a kind of crossroads to the darker, more emotional tones of the first movie and the cartoony whizzica-woo of the later ones, this wedding sequence has a little bit of both. On the one hand, you can see all sorts of gags that you can come to appreciate. Whether it's Mavis vanishing in photos,
No, I don't really care for the link up.
the flower girl getting mobbed, screaming cake, or the role reversal of a monster finding a human to be ugly. Against the backdrop of just a bunch of silly jokes, you then have this one moment in the middle that is genuinely touching. And it's Drac watching Mavis go down the aisle, seeing her still as his little girl. Like, that is some stake to the heart type stuff, and we're like 15 seconds in. And clearly a remnant of the best bits of that first Hotel Transylvania movie. That's probably about as emotional as we're gonna get in this new one. Now with that out of the way, let's introduce the concept of a Dracia Drac who absolutely wouldn't be on board with a monster-human connection. Kinda like what Drax was in the first movie. But more!
Honey, your Gramps would not have been cool with this. He's not as enlightened as your hip daddy.
We'll be meeting Dracula's father in this one. Ooh. But with the ceremony over and John's mum getting drenched a few more times, we jump... Ooh, is that a 1 year later card in classic papyrus font? Love it. So Mavis and Johnny are now beckoning Drac for a fly outside.
No special reason at all. Right, maybe?
It's also in this short scene you get to see just how squishy the characters have gotten. Like, sure, we thought the first movie was pretty expressive when it first came out, but this is stretching it up to a 10. And later they'll hit 11 and 12. It's just that darker, gothic first movie vibe is very gone in comparison. Anyway, what could this meeting possibly be about? A nice display of the extended reaches of the hotel? A little bit of water and cloud physics? No, of course not. This movie decided to take the plunge and full lean into the direction of...
Just a little harder to catch my breath since I'm pregnant.
This was a choice. A really early choice, right? Like, is this not weird to anybody else? I already mentioned that she's canonically 18. 119 now, a year has passed, I guess. But it is early. And you just know they had to animate this while she was a bat so that people didn't take it and run elsewhere.
Jonathan, you are banging my dog!
I always found pregnancy announcements to be just a little weird. Just because of the insinuation it brings, you know? Now you can see why Johnny was acting so giddy earlier.
No special reason at all.
How did they even get a pregnancy test to the building? Or was the bump their only indication? And what happens to the fetus when she turns into a bat? There's too many damn questions.
Jonathan!
But we don't even know if the kid's gonna be a vampire.
Human, monster, unicorn, as long as you're
Not gonna happen.
Honestly, that is the last question on my mind. Plus, you turned your body into a bat mid-pregnancy. I can assure you that if it was human before, it's not anymore. But with Mavis having a baby bump floating in the bed sheets in front of her, all the symptoms are starting to show. I guess that's the material they want to jump off of for this movie. Ironically, my favorite bit's the part of just the two boys looking at each other. Forget every pregnancy joke in this scene. And then, just as you think the pregnancy thing might be an affliction for the entire movie, bam! With all sorts of antics to bounce off of, it's over! We're skipping right to the end of it because the animators really didn't want to show a pregnant Mavis on screen. The plot is actually all about the child. Immediately in this movie franchise. Again, so early to be doing this. And though we're now jumping on the overly intrusive father breaking into the delivery room and all that good fun jazz, even keeping Mavis briefly away from her own son,
my little devil dog.
Dad, can I hold my baby?
there is at least one moment, once again, it's just like the wedding, where Drac hits that emotive string, if only for a moment. So anyway, now that we've jumped a year later and then another 9 months later, let's just do it again with just yet another year ahead in time. You could have placed several Hotel Transylvania movies between the age of 118 and almost 121. But no, we are skimming right now as baby Dennis here needs to become mobile. Hey Johnny, can you give us a poorly delivered explanation of where he's at?
Little Dennis is a year old now. Wow.
Yeah, thanks. And the human parents are back with more of a spine in trying to push back against Drac.
Maybe he'd be better off where we live. There's more humans there.
What?
All the while, the monster guests are bringing in presents in their own cursed ways. It's good fun.
My first guillotine. Very educational.
Even going so far as to montage us baby-proofing the entire hotel, which I think is a nice twist on the clearly dangerous monster hotel. Taking what is already some crazy architectural designs and adding in this kind of mundane, familiar safeguarding, it's genuinely kinda cool to see. But likely just for these gags and not an element of the set pieces we'll actually be seeing. Wouldn't it be a shame if at this point we left the hotel entirely? But first, we get another scene of a singular bit, yet again another year later, as Dennis says his first words.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And we move on.
Human, monster, unicorn. As long as...
Dad?
Just checking for cavities.
Oh, into this scene.
Oh my goodness, Leonard.
Now this scene opens up to a whole new genre of criticism when it comes to the Hotel Transylvania franchise as a whole. In some regards, it's okay conceptually. You have the traditional archaic vampire design mixing with modern human technology. I can see the appeal to it.
I don't care if Johnny said it's a cool app.
But with this particular expression of tech, with phone apps and pop culture references, they're always gonna date the movie.
No, you're checking your Facebook page. Again.
But what time period do you think this is? Like, based off of the representation of this hip new phone thing, what year do you think this movie came out?
It's not doing it.
Because this is seriously prehistoric stuff. And I get it, on Drac's part, it is literally his first exposure to a touchscreen, but with that Facebook reference earlier, you'd think this was a 2008 thing. Maybe 2010, 2012 at a stretch. This is a late 2015 movie. Facebook was already dead by this point from my perspective. I guess it makes sense that the only people left on the site are the undead zombies. It's one thing to get phone references into your movie, but it feels especially dated to bring out outdated references.
I told the guys social media is the best way to promote the hotel.
I don't hate its place in the story, but I do find it terrible how badly it is done. I kinda like the gag of the screens in the background, but it's also weird how this scene decides to play the Family Guy cutaway gag formula, with several scenes of the hotel's antics with humans. But sure, you can squeeze in some Sony phones. You can add a Bluetooth monster.
Bluetooth, come over here. So now what?
And you could insinuate more of Johnny and Mavis's relationship.
I need to feel loved too.
Ah, well, we'll get to that can of worms soon enough.
Hi, Papa.
Hello, my little devil.
First, we have the other boy getting involved in the night, coming in with his own vampire agenda for his grandson.
I'm going to teach you how to turn into a bat.
Yeah, you'll never guess what he does next. This is stupid. It's pretty unprovoked, but hits with the tone that this version of Drax is going for some reason. Guy loves his pop culture dance numbers, but isn't a fan of the other modern stuff. Alrighty. But Dennis just isn't quite showing signs yet, and it's an interesting development for Drac to have to come to terms with.
When were you drinking his blood?
No.
Just throwing it out there.
A child not coming out exactly as he'd hope.
Not a chicken.
Like, it is a nice conflict for him to have to face as a parental figure to another character.
Please, he's practically 5 already. Don't force it.
Human, monster, unicorn.
And as Mavis appears and shuts it down, we learn that Dennis is going to be given a human sleep schedule soon enough. And also another beat of charm, if you ignore the lyrics.
You will never breathe again.
Actually, there's a nice handful of these more heartfelt scenes. To the point that you can really see that it's a blend of an old classic and watered down nothing cartoons. When they hit beats like this, I can really find the Drac character endearing. Maybe it's just because there's not too many characters yet, just bloating up all of the screen time away from him. Sure hope that doesn't change anytime soon. Woof, and another year gone. At age 5 is when things are really supposed to come to a head for a vampire child, but with pacing like this, it really feels like there's a missed opportunity in firing this gun so early. 5 years of Hotel Transylvania antics would be plenty for all sorts of franchise scenarios. To then go into the child 5-year time skip when all of that has died down, you know? With spacing like this, it feels very much like life became mundane and samey immediately after the events of the first movie, which makes it particularly strange to imagine there were 2 other sequels after this. Like, in the timeline of their lives, does it not seem strange that these characters met, nothing of note happened for 5 years, and then we had these big event movies happening all close to each other only after those 5 years? Not a single extra character joined the ensemble in that gap? Regardless, Mavis is getting a lot more loose with Dennis's parenting for half a scene, before hopping right back in when he loses a baby tooth.
Dennis!
Understandable.
Here comes the fang.
Dad!
And this must have been such an exhaustive time period to go through. Having this Drac arc ongoing for literal years over his grandchild. But Mavis has had enough, coming out with a great sharp line that could lead into some heavy messaging here.
You can't just make somebody something they're not.
Which could be emblematic of a whole breadth of things on the parenting front, which is nice. And then Mavis drops the human bombshell.
We've been talking about moving.
It's the Dracs versus humans argument again, but elevated to a whole new scale. Just like you would for a sequel movie, and Drax takes his anger out on Johnny instead.
Did he just cover me with birdseed? Yeah, he covered me.
Pause for guffawing laughter on that punchline. So, 1/3 of the way into this movie, it's time to hit on some of the plot, don't you think?
Finally!
Drac is upset about all of these circumstances.
Hey, dude, man, I'm afraid to say anything.
All the while in denial that Dennis isn't a monster.
He is a monster. He's just a late fanger.
And so, for some reason, Frank comes inside to have a discussion with Drac, and we come round to a classic Hotel Transylvania thing where, on the directing front, this franchise isn't bad. When it comes to action and comedy, there's always some additional layer to latch onto and be entertained by. And in this case, it's Frank getting tangled with Dracula's clothing. All the while in the background, we're getting to revelations.
Man, if you could just get some alone time.
Hey, Batman. I live in the shadows.
This is probably the most plot-heavy scene so far in regards to planning and exposition, and yet it's practically buried in antics first. A good and a bad. A double-edged sword. Very much the case that this movie is not taking its story all too seriously, as it will only continue to do from here. But the plan is set. Give Johnny and Mavis some time alone as Johnny wishes, and get alone time with Dennis to convert him into a monster.
Teach him how to be a monster.
With one addition to the cast coming up,
All he needs is time with his vampire. Vampire grandpa.
you also know where this is likely going. All the cracks of the later movie problems are showing signs here, as the already ensemble cast of Drac and friends is now adding a new son, and soon a new grandfather to the mix. And no, they won't be going away after this movie, of course. And so from here, the boys do some scheming.
Okay, so here's the plan. Maybe it's a good idea to...
I don't know quite how deeply informative Drax is of the whole plan, but if he at all mentions throwing his son off of a tower and Johnny just nods his head, this is some seriously problematic parenting going on for the both of them. But we will get there.
You kids go to California and see if it's the right place to raise the Nisi bitch.
And so they're heading off, with all the classic lines you can think of. Strange to imagine this hasn't happened in over 5 years already, but I guess it's possible.
Just keep her distracted and happy, but not too happy.
But then when we come here, it just starts to reach that uncomfortable conversation of, this is just manipulative on both of their parts. The idea is for Mavis to spend the entirety of this movie's runtime distracted away whilst ulterior motives are at play. And Johnny, as the husband to his wife and father to his child, just nods it all away. He could be more content and genuinely involved on the idea of being alone with Mavis, but with the specific rules of not keeping her too happy, it just comes off as slimy. And honestly tragic for her to be attached to somebody who can throw away her desires like that on a whim and shackle her to an isolated castle where she will literally be manipulated to never leave. Not after 5 years, not after this movie. Unless you count bringing everybody else too. Genuinely, this starts to sound suffocating for Mavis, and she never even realizes.
Oh, you klutz.
We can't say nothing about this?
No, we don't have time for singers.
But hey, the manipulator's comedically endearing.
How do you click in the stupid car seat?
I think it's also a point to mention just how uninvolved everyone else seems to be on the other aspects of Dennis's upbringing. You're telling me in 5 years, Drax has never needed to do the car seat himself? I don't see Johnny doing any parenting beyond holding the boy before either. Does literally nobody do anything and the entire child rearing is put on Mavis's shoulders? They say it takes a village to raise a child, and they literally have a village living with them. This just gets sadder the more you think about it.
We just strap our kids down with duct tape.
See, in that context, bad parenting is funny. Anyway, at this point, Drax and friends are each heading out to take Dennis on a monster adventure. And also Blobby, who wants to come along and isn't one of the gang yet.
It was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
And then they all dance to Worth It.
Guys, what is wrong with you?
Oh, bit of a weird establishing shot, but I guess it gets the idea across. Wait, did they not take the plane? Because Johnny's driving. I assumed they were picked up from the airport, and has Johnny not driven in 5 years? Is that not a problem? Or
You're gonna be so happy, but not too happy.
Huh?
What?
What did you say?
the lines of this micro scene are literally just repeating Drax's words from Johnny, and Mavis being generally nervous. But it is over as quickly as it starts on simply the line,
Your dad was so all over it.
I know. He's the best.
"Okie pokey." And so the lessons begin. The bits the movie truly really cares about, with branch hittings and some Dennis ragdoll physics. Before we get told that every monster will be bringing out their monstrous specialty. And from Frank we have...
Frankenstein!
You know, technically, that's still not his name. He then proceeds to just give out selfies to these humans and we move on. Classic subversion of expectations now that time has moved on.
Selfie action?
For real?
Whilst also, Drax is immediately annoyed by the fact that the very first thing he tried on his grandson didn't work.
Oh, he's adorable!
Not scary, but Boo is a star.
Great sign for things to come. And now attempt number 2 with the second friend character. Boy, it sure is great it didn't take place in Hotel Transylvania 5, or else we'd conduct like 17 of these monster attempts to get through the whole class. This time it's the werewolf being told to...
Go kill something. Denisovich, watch this.
What?
Also, isn't a werewolf half human? Did none of the aspect of the before times ever come up in the last movie, or this one, like, at all? Anyway, he too has moved on with the times, and so when told to take monsters back a few decades and eat a deer, the end result is...
Growl!
Get it, Uncle Wayne.
And so, we move on once again. Thankfully, this isn't quite gonna be the rest of the movie, but it is still pretty surface-level storytelling.
You're a werewussy.
I said I was rusty.
And then Blobby falls off of a cliff. Is that relevant to anything in this movie?
Nope. He's fine. He's Blobby.
Right.
Did they just not want him in scenes? Huh.
Wait, what's that place?
And while one side of the story is flat and formulaic, you've then got the Johnny side of the issue, whereby you have an excitable Mavis enjoying the novelty of a new place, and Johnny is just weighing her down.
Johnny, have you tried this Slurpee?
I don't know if we have time.
And like, what's his problem, man? It's like he really took the ethos of don't let her be too happy to heart and is just holding her back. From his perspective, this is everything he logically should be wanting. He now has alone time with Mavis. He's able to showcase a new place, which was very much his deal from before his time at the hotel. He was a globetrotter back in the day and had distinct memories from all of his travels. The ability to travel with his wife and show something new to her should be something he gets totally on board with, being able to relax with an energized version of the girl he fell in love with. But instead, he just can't help but bring down the mood.
We have to try them all.
What? If it's because he wanted a more romantic setting with Mavis instead, I'm sure it's something that could be communicated and accommodated for, but instead, we just get this unfortunate layout of more manipulative behavior. As if Mavis doesn't get the freedom to let loose and be happy after 5 years of solo child rearing, it seems. At least the shopkeeper gets on her level.
Hello, world.
Oh, oops, sorry, I forgot. There's room for a third scene now of Monster Can't Monster No More.
Sandstorm? It's been a while.
And I like how every friend is surprised to be given this prompt, as if this hasn't been their entire activity for the last hour. But hey, it is some nice animation that they put on the guy. Completely unshackled to gravity just to do some nice visual things. So, how did they ruin this one?
Ow! My back.
Alright, that'll do. Hey Drac, how about you pull somebody else's nipples in anger?
How cute!
There you go. Wait, why was he topless?
Wait, stop at that playground. Holy rabies. This looks like a blast.
On to another novelty for Mavis. But hey, it's nice that Johnny is more on board now.
Check it out! Oh yeah!
Maybe this movie can start turning things around, as Johnny starts to do a little more good for Mavis' sake rather than pandering to the problematic father. And despite trying to talk Mavis down a little bit,
I don't know, maybe. This can be pretty dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
he lets her express herself, and it goes beyond fantastically.
We rode in, good times.
At first, this seems absolutely absurd until you remember she can literally just fly and take the bike with her. Not quite sure how she's immune to electrical currents though. I guess the tires are rubber, but...
That's my girlfriend, suckers!
Your wife, Johnny.
Even better.
Sounds harmless. That's relatively new info to us. But they've been married 5 years at this point. Almost 6. Yikes. Anyway, now that Johnny has let loose, it's time for him to be punished for it. Great message from the writers there.
What an awesome place to raise a kid.
Oh, to raise a kid.
Because nothing could be worse than your spouse being excited about a new prospect and coming to their own conclusion. Best to manipulate them to never reach that conclusion in the first place.
I'm gonna check on Dennis, okay?
Anyway, back to Drax and the gang. Still in that same damn car again. Man, they must have saved some real money sticking to the same set piece again and again. Now coming at us with multiple other cutaway gags of monsters doing their thing.
Watch me, you're not watching. Here we go.
It's pretty one track. Each scene is basically a singular joke and that's it. And then Mavis calls in the middle of it, leading to just about what you'd expect.
I'm Sunglasses Man to the rescue! Okay.
Faintly nice that you can use the Invisible Man to make the baby fly. That's about it. And with Mavis seemingly enthusiastic, well, that can only mean one thing.
See that?
She said she was having fun. Johnny's blowing it.
She said she was having fun. Johnny's blowing it. How horrible. His daughter seems to be having a good time. What a disaster.
I gotta fix this kid now.
Human, monster.
Are we almost there or what?
It's funny. I was expecting this movie to be kind of the middle ground between a classic and a terrible movie, with it being closest to the original. But no, I think somehow it's managing to be the most terrible of the bunch. Because while later on it gets all the more watered down and surface level, here it feels genuinely malicious in the way that these characters are written and how they behave. Actually a bastardization of their original concepts, and horrendously outdated on rewatch like this. And now from one same car scene to another same car scene, can't even transition to another location this time, we have one last chat with Dennis and Drac talking about romance.
Papa Drac, do you miss Grandma?
Actually bringing Dracula's late wife up briefly and talking about his zing, but not at all with the same weight as the original. Maybe that's asking too much considering this is a chat with a 5-year-old. Instead, Drac turns around and teases him with,
"You can't just be friends with a cute hairy number like Winnie."
getting in there early that other parenting trope of forcing romance between your kids because a girl could never only be friends with a boy. Bit of a skip of a scene, but telling us that Dennis likes Winnie, the wolf girl. And then finally, we arrive somewhere. And I don't know, something about the vibes of this place just seems a little off to me.
How you doing, folks? I'm Dana, the director.
Yeah, I hate this guy. No, but really, the whole gag around this place is that kind of condescending tone of, kids today have it too soft. Look, everything's protected with safety and regulations. Ugh! And like, sure, for literal vampires, you can get that this is a bit much.
Had to scale it down. Insurance.
But also, I just find this icky, we had it better back then vibe just kind of weird. In the context of the story, it's fine, but if this is a message to reach the real world, it's just a bit malicious again. Whilst at the same time, they play absurd in both directions. Like, it makes sense that this thing was decommissioned. Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Come along and subscribe if you haven't already. And then we'll get back to the second half of the terrible Hotel Transylvania 2. Like, it makes sense that this thing was decommissioned. I just don't get a read on whether the filmmakers are parodying this outlook on life or genuinely presenting it.
Hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey.
Well, gosh, welcome you two.
Hey, gang.
But now it's time to see the human side of the family. They have normal furniture in a smallish house. And of course, a very Halloween-y approach to decorations.
I've set up your bedroom. Just like Transylvania.
It's charming in its own little way, though I can't say I recall remembering much details about these parent characters, and it's probably because not all that impressionable. One is very deadpan, the other is...
You know, we have a couple of mixed families in the neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess you can extrapolate the monster-human thing into that kind of thing. Seems a bit blunt to just lay it all out like that, and it doesn't lead to commentary or anything.
Paul, who's a werewolf.
I am not a werewolf.
You know, if the Hotel Transylvania 3 version of me saw this, he would be pissed.
I cannot fathom how much some corner of the internet loved that.
Is this just a hipster punchline? Is it a meta dunk on nerdy critics on the first movie? I feel like there's something malicious going on here too. Like, this is warped to look like a certain person, but I was certainly out of the firing range back in 2015. I hadn't grown any beard yet. Look at this disgusting thing from that time. Whilst at the same time, this guy is kind of like this guy. So even the impact of making fun of someone's looks with these characters is diminished from featuring both of these characters, and so close together. But hey, what more can you expect? This movie has already been given its badge of terrible quality, and we're just about halfway through. A halfway mark somewhere around here.
Vampires will be friends forever.
Back to the campsite now, and if we're not dunking on bearded people, we're dunking on softies instead, with all the more newfangled ideas that Drax doesn't agree with. And with the assets already established, you know exactly where this is going instead.
We're going.
What? Where?
Whilst all at the same time bringing up the entire ensemble cast as well, for some reason, so that Drax can continue having someone to talk to during all of this. And to give us that much needed information like...
This thing is rickety.
Ah yes, I couldn't tell that already from the general idea of this absurd tower, thanks Frank. And really, this is the craziest part of the movie. Despite the very clear and logistical issues of this vampire being a hybrid vampire that feasibly may remain a human only, Drac has absolutely no hesitation in just...
Go!
And to do so in a moment of distraction away from Mavis is nothing short of genuine child endangerment. He justifies it because he can step into the rescue, but does that really make it okay to take such a dive? But I'll give them props for making the rest of it pretty entertaining on the comedic front by having this agonizingly long shot of the gang voicing their doubts.
He's still not flying.
He will. You know what? He's not gonna fly.
A nice piece of the rare audio gag for you there. Until, surprise, their grandson doesn't randomly spawn vampire wings because he's not like other fanged kids, it seems.
Told you, Papa's always here for you.
I'm not so sure that's so endearing anymore. Your life and safety is in his hands, in both ways of the matter. And after more of this, dweeb,
I have to follow protocol. Now, please, don't make me call the police.
the whole place catches fire. Including the car.
To the Batmobile.
This scene is kinda the defining scene of the movie, really. This is certainly all I typically remember, other than the Slurpee scene that for some reason plays on loop at my own local supermarket. And it really is the deepest pit of the franchise, with it literally featuring a grandpa throwing his son to his death out of expectation for him to become something he's not. All the while manipulating the child's mother away to be discontent on the other side of the planet. Not for being away from the child, but just from not being allowed to fully let loose and have fun. And the upcoming Vlad is meant to be the problematic one? Woof. Speaking of manipulating Mavis, time for Johnny to uphold his end of the dodgy deal.
Why do I feel so weird here?
And with an open goal, as Mavis naturally doesn't feel included here, despite no contributions on Johnny's part. She just doesn't get along with the vibes of his family, naturally, it seems. It's here there's room for that genuine heart-to-heart connection for Johnny and Mavis as husband and wife that has the potential to go in so many directions, and it just doesn't. It could talk to the more direct bond the two of them have, or maybe showcase a little bit of Johnny's genuine perspective on the matter, since Mavis's immediate flip on the argument of,
As long as we're all together, we'll be happy anywhere, even at the hotel.
also doesn't bring his opinion on the matter. Since he's clearly trying to keep her in the hotel, using this as an opportunity to communicate that could help on all fronts. Though he doesn't have an opinion.
Hey, dude, man, I'm afraid to say anything.
He's just blindly following Drax's orders instead. And there's a little bit of that connection element in there.
If Dennis grows up to be just like you, I'll be the luckiest dad in the world.
But it's all just not as effective as it could have been. And a whole lot less genuine. Add on the fact that Johnny immediately gets sent a viral video, opens it, and then proceeds to delete it when they realize Dennis is in it.
Oops, just deleted it, so it's gone.
And we just loop right back to that manipulative angle. Johnny now also still being pro-Drac after seeing the danger he's put his son in. Just horrendous the way they've spun these characters in the first sequel, compared to the golden presentations they had the first time round. And understandably, she's pissed. And not letting this one trick her away. One more fake out phone call scene later with briefly all the layers coming together.
Wait a minute. Is that the mother?
And both parties are steaming back home.
We need to get home right away.
Whoa!
Impressive that Mavis thinks she can outrun Drac back home in theory with a plane schedule needed first, but don't worry about it. And does Drax come to terms with the fact that his grandson is now human and willing to accept it now that he's literally pushed the child beyond the edge? Nope. We're just gonna make a little gag on a scooter instead.
Hit it!
And this, straight up, is the next story beat. It is the two parties racing to get back to the hotel. Oh hey, they actually addressed the whole plane problem.
But you'll have to switch planes in Chicago and then Zurich.
And instead, Mavis just completely takes flight instead.
This shit, I'm out.
A maddening feat to carry a full Johnny and gear across entire oceans. And yet look, that's exactly what's happening. I guess that level of determination we can put to those moments of mothers saving their children with incredible strength in times of crisis. But despite this surely taking hours upon hours to conduct, Johnny feels none of the emotions of the scene, and also can't contribute anything for that matter.
Gotta do a selfie.
Johnny, not now.
All the while we have Drac doing the same thing with the slow scooter, with the same punchline, again and again. Oh, apart from the one of Blobby peeing, in case you wanted to see how that one works.
Oh, you nasty.
And also never choosing to settle into one of the many blasting cars around. But eventually, they come to a new method of transportation.
No!
What exactly is Frank blowing anatomically? And now they can scatterfly their way straight home with some perfect cartoon luck logic. It's here we attempt to play into another moment for the family, whilst Murray the mummy is strung from the back. You have Drac holding Dennis up so he can fly. And it faintly looks like it's meant to be an emotive scene, but it's really not what it could have been. Again.
Look at you go!
I don't know exactly what I'm asking for here, but a hint of introspection could have been nice. Imagine if you had this shot from Drac's view looking up at his human grandson, flying against the skies and coming to terms with the fact that this is all he will ever be, human. And whether with acceptance or with disappointment in his face, we cut to Drac just looking up at his son for a moment. It could be a genuine silent character moment for him. But no, it is surface level flying fun. And just like that, both teams arrive at the hotel at the same time. Timeline of events be damned.
Give me my son.
Oh, finally. This is a scene that could really hit hard, as it finally addresses the problems at the center of this movie. Because it's true that this is such a betrayal of trust on Drax's part. And then they throw the meme at you.
I saw.
Buzzers already, Nazi cuckoo!
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Always weird when movies try to emulate memes. A cliche the moment a phone is established. In universe, but sure, it gets the point across.
Now I don't even feel like he's safe around you.
It's a shame that Mavis never acknowledges Johnny's side to this, as he too was a contributor just as much as everybody else. But nonetheless, she's made her decision of moving.
Human, monster, that it didn't matter.
And we wrap up what could be a gut-punching conflict scene with yet another undercooked piece of dialogue.
But I don't think you've let them into your heart.
I don't really think this is the mighty kick this movie thinks that it is. Is this really the problem? That Drac won't let a human into his heart? What was all of the last movie then? Remember that scene of Drac and Johnny starting to have fun together with the flying tables? I feel like that very much reflects him successfully letting a human into his heart. More so than just accepting them to his hotel or to Mavis. Maybe they just didn't want to use the family word and say he wouldn't accept a human relative, since that can be a little close to reality, but the end result is just another flat expression from a pretty problematic narrative. While I've been complaining all sorts about Drac, it's a real bastardization that Johnny becomes completely soulless in his personality here. And it's funny, Johnny's child is able to vocalize more of his personal opinions than Johnny does.
But what about Papa Drac? He's gonna be here all alone.
The fact that the only counterpoint comes from the child as well is so shameful. But hey, he's endearing at the least.
I'm a bat.
Dennis?
Huh?
Cut to a dinner table meet with Johnny's side of the family, extended and all, over in Transylvania now. What year are we in now? People are just teleporting all over the place.
Dude, why do you want to leave? This place is out of control.
It's a meet before they move, but not the full meet because someone else has been invited. It's almost surprising how limited this movie has been at holding back new characters other than the full extended Johnny family line. Because don't forget, there's another mainstay who joins from this point on. The old great-grandfather mentioned ages ago.
I invited him.
You invited him?
We are 1 hour and 1 minute into this 1 hour and 20-minute movie. And now, finally, with less than 20 minutes to spare, it's time for our introduction to...
Good old Vlad.
It may have all sorts of narrative flaws, but it also has pacing ones too. That being said, Vlad's throne looks awesome. And the glowing eyes genuinely brings a nice sense of intimidation. Until he comes into the light and starts talking anyway.
Holy rabies.
But while visually it all seems quite nice, when you you think about conceptually what's going on here, it's just doing a Dracula from the first movie. It's the big scary old vampire, but now we've learned he's soft. It's time for the bigger, scarier, older vampire, and he's not soft until we see soon enough he is. What, is there another scale to even more archaic coming?
Here's our sweet Peter.
Actually, when I went to research Dracula's lineage, all I kept being said to was real connections to the royal family. So that's certainly something.
It's at a hotel? Fancy.
And he must have really not been in touch with his son, considering Drac's been hosting a hotel for over a century now. He shouldn't even know he has a daughter just yet. We faintly get the scares that he hates humans, but it seems more like a thing for his gargoyles. So now Drac, upon learning his father is coming, sets everyone up with a masquerade party to hide the fact they're human.
My dad cannot know you're a human or any of your family.
Literally just once again doing beats of the first Hotel Transylvania now. Wow, they were so out of ideas in the first sequel, it's honestly a surprise to see they managed another 2, and a couple TV shows as well.
Sort of like a last hurrah before Dennis gets to be with normal people.
God, there is some uncomfortable wordplay that this movie is not confident enough to make a statement on. Instead of Frankenstein, we have zombies. How original. That's about all there is for this scene, other than Dennis and Winnie having a moment again.
Whatever. I'm not about to cry.
Actually, at this point, we're about to get a collection of very small scenes. I guess that's what you get once everyone's in the same place, and it's all going down at this masquerade party in this final act.
Hotel Transylvania.
He said it!
We get a lot of waffling before the main event, but let's just skip to the main bit.
Where's my vamp son?
Dark, dramatic, good. This movie then proceeds to have Vlad make a comment on each particular monster, and he must be old if he's not even heard of a mummy before.
Yo, V. Talking toilet paper. Well, that's a new one.
I mean, Egyptians were already described as ancient back in the Roman times, so this guy is eons old. I appreciate they acknowledge the Frankenstein thing.
Actually, I'm technically Frankenstein's monster.
And one realization later, eventually, we cool down with...
Oh, he's a late fanger. Just like you.
Well, there goes your final conflict. But they come to the conclusion of hopping onto one last try, with Vlad's plan being to scare the fangs into him by exploding something he loves. In this case, Keiki.
Who here loves cake?
A guy I've skipped past this entire movie, but he's a puppet monster guy. And instead of any real introspection or acceptance to what Dennis potentially is, Drac just resets once again and decides to go with the plan to convert his grandson because he still hasn't truly accepted him yet.
That's your guy.
And furthermore, if it all works out, then...
If it works for Denisevich, boom, he's a vampire, and you all get to stay here.
Time to see how this all plays out now that we've just reset again. Again, this is such a disappointing scene to have to go through at the very end of the movie, since there's been no real character growth from anybody compared to the last trial. It's just running the numbers again, now with a new character at the helm, and all sorts of complexities of character and communication are lost.
You feeling anything? Any change?
Is Kiki okay?
There's no sense of remorse from Drac, no acknowledgement of accepting a human child, no thoughts for the child he's once again endangering, and Johnny's just letting it happen too.
You don't eat cake.
And even though we reach this ending now, with Dracula stepping in, it just doesn't have the weight it's supposed to have because nothing has changed since last time. Oh, what? Falling from a tower for 2 minutes was fine, but at this possession we draw the line? It'd have been great if there was some character development in the background that leads to this decision from Dracula. But it just doesn't. He does it seemingly on a whim. He'll then go on to crappily exposite the plan to Mavis.
It was my last attempt to make the boy a vampire so you'd stay.
And only make communications all the worse as Mavis is now going to attack him and Johnny for even trying, despite the fact that Drac had stepped in to stop it. This could have been the chance for some accountability here. But no! None of that in any part of this movie. Not even gonna get mad at Vlad himself for doing it? What, is it because that's just expected from his generation, from the year 2? All of this, on so many fronts, is just so poorly put together. And though they at least touch on some of the linguistics coming out of this movie,
Dennis just wants to be normal.
Can we stop using the word normal?
it's not really enough to turn this scene into anything less than messy and underwhelming. I'm sure they thought they were hitting gold with a messaging line like this.
He is who he is, and you can't change him, Dad.
But so much of that is unimpactful when you have the context of everything else going wrong on all cylinders. It's just surface level drama in its place. And so, Dennis runs away. But we ain't gonna see any of that. Let's get back into the drama that immediately remedies itself.
Oh, Daddy.
What? So much for all of that then, I guess? This came through because Vlad finally learns that all the humans are humans.
You think we're monsters?
Did they have to pose like that? It unfortunately looks like, yeah, we're proud to be white, but okay. And instead of killing and eating the humans, the super ancient vampire just berates Drax slightly, and that's about it.
Why don't you just put a stake through my heart?
So when he calls him out with,
If you can't give him the love he deserves, then you're the fool.
that's what loops us back to,
Oh, Daddy.
as if totally skipping over the part where Drac was on the opposite side of this argument not 2 minutes ago and had no remorse of his consistent meddlings and endangerment up to this point. But yeah, okay, whatever. Johnny's also off the hook now despite saying and doing nothing. By the way, Dennis is in danger now as Vlad's gargoyle has caught the smell of a runaway human and also been watching in the window. And while the others scatter to go find the kid, mostly,
Not in this pot of soup.
it's time for Dennis to meet his fate.
You're just a weak little boy.
The gargoyle now threatening to rip the hotel to shreds for accepting humans. You'd kind of think he'd check on whether Vlad's okay with that first, considering that's his son. But apparently no, he's just going rogue on this one. Don't think about it too hard. What's worse is, you can probably guess where this scene is going. But that only opens up to a whole new collection of criticism because... well, there it is. The single defining moment that totally takes the wind out of any sails in this movie's emotional development. In times of stress, a hybrid vampire could, in these circumstances, be awakened, blah blah blah. But we didn't really need to have a life-threatening scene like this. We didn't need a superhero ending to this movie. And can you imagine how much more impactful this movie could have been if Dennis never actually became a vampire? Just a human boy, a human grandson that Drac would have to emotionally connect with and accept, as had seemingly been the message throughout this entire movie's runtime. By having the boy grow his fangs in the end eventually, it completely validates Drac's actions up to this point, as if to insinuate he was at least right to try. And that's so devastating. Also, how did the bat servant, apparently called Bella, smell humans here if Dennis is a vampire? Presumably, he would have been the same species since birth and wasn't only just showing signs at 5. So Bella shouldn't have been smelling him at all, really. Why does he smell like a human if he's not? Now, by taking away the accepting your son for what they are element this entire scene had going for it, it's time for a superhero rescue instead. As all the other gargoyle things are awakened back at the cave, and we have a massive fight on our hands. All of it, in a lot of ways, is quite shameless, to be honest. Like, we just full pivot towards this now for most of the last 6 minutes. There's been no other real connection to fighting, and the fact that Dennis immediately can do all the vampire things is just another pacing waste, as that could have been an entire other movie. But nope, watch him use every power seamlessly from here. What's more, once everyone else joins in, no one gets any hint of context on why he's fighting these guys. They just get stuck in.
Oh, this'll be fun.
But what this really is what Hotel Transylvania has always been. It is a collection of cartoony gags featuring monsters doing antics. So of course, we have an extended showcase of how each and every monster or character beats a gargoyle or two. Hotel Transylvania 2 is the start of the end of the franchise. It's so weird how quickly it became like the sequels, if that makes any sense. The original truly felt like a lightning in a bottle classic with some quirky motion. But then immediately in making more, the quirky motions just get turned up even more. And narratively, this movie just falls apart as underwhelming on the good end, repetitive in the middle, or outright problematic bastardizations at the bad end. Thankfully, the future sequels aren't quite as malicious as this movie feels at times. But that cartoony, shallow stuff will only go on to expand more and more. And any hint of true emotional weight becomes lighter and lighter as we go. And it all starts here, almost immediately, as any direction for proper introspection or intimate moments are skimmed for an end result that's just Hotel Transylvania 1 again, with a lot of that depth shallowed out. But enough of a wrap-up, let's hit that ending. Faintly wrapping up arcs like Dennis saving the other cousin boys.
You rock, Dennis!
Or simply Blobby being worked to do this. There's a lot of nothing to really see. Just reeling in the highs of this narrative choice to make Dennis a vampire as a way to distract you from how much lesser of a story this is by not having Drac truly accept who he is. Like, he may still say that he does.
You're perfect no matter what.
But that sure doesn't hit as hard when at the end of the day, Dennis becomes exactly the kind of grandson Drac was hoping he would be. Same can be said for Vlad. I doubt he would be so chill if reality wasn't the best case scenario minus Johnny.
Who cares? Mine came out years ago. Look.
And just like that, that is the last inkling of story progression we're gonna get in this movie. Simply because you know how these Hotel Transylvania movies have to end. Featuring a couple of monster gags, but it wasn't all that much, surprisingly, and ending on silence.
I didn't do that.
It's a choice. Hokey pokey. From here, the franchise just goes on to do less and less, whilst looking more and more. And the only great decision they really made was choosing not to show a pregnant Mavis on screen. Weird that they made her pregnant so soon in the first place. It's the terrible Hotel Transylvania 3. We start off on a train in 1897. Hey, that's pretty cool. Show us some early days Drac and the gang. They look identical. Not even a minor visual cue like a changed hairdo.
Man, I hate wearing disguises. These heels are killing me.
Oh, so these are the kind of gags we resorted to, just out of the blue random. But then this guy comes in. And this guy's just a full-on illumination character. But I'll admit, I'm entertained.
So you can believe me when I tell you there are monsters hiding amongst you.
Less of a fan of just the most stock chicken sound effect you can possibly find, mixed with some unneeded screaming, but you win some, you lose some, I guess. All hell breaks loose, we end up on the train, classic. Murray the Mummy now is apparently the butt of pain humor. I get interrupted by music. And Drac outsmarts Van Helsing across all of time. It's a cool sequence to show the passing of time, kinda, though I feel like I almost want to see the prequel material. Am I part of the problem here? Either way, I feel like this movie is already moving so fast that no one gets to truly enjoy some of the just bonkers animation we've seen. Look at these screenshots I grabbed from just this first scene. So now it's the present day with a spiky wedding taking place and the hotel is hosting. It's got some standard cartoony gags throughout just to tell us this bit of information.
A zing only happens once in your life, and you have to cherish it.
And then we move on to something I actually thought was a really good joke.
Do you hear that?
Yes, I thought we locked him in his room.
We did!
Dennis!
You see, that's a great subversion. It's not the big dog that's the issue, it's the rabid child.
Tickles was crying, so we let him out.
Oh, so it was the dog. Boo. So following that, we get that one lonely scene from the Rugrats movie and an interaction with a really fun character design that leads into our main-ish plotline. Dracula's looking to date.
I want to meet someone.
Understood. You want to eat dim sum.
Are you kidding me right now?
This is a 2018 movie. And so to kick forward the plotline, Mavis interrupts Drax's Tinder attempts, he lies to her as he usually does, and she subconsciously pushes this narrative that they're all overworked. It's time to spend more time as a family. Surely it's just because the hotel just hosted a wedding. Anyway, off we go! It's Gremlin Air time. The joke is it's an airline that cares about you less than the United Express flight, and they really run with the punchlines. Luggage is chucked, snacks are scattered, oxygen is like this, and the pilots have this smug face as they're drowning their passengers, and I honestly really love how they prep to descend. But it takes us to our first location, the Bermuda Triangle. And I'll admit, I like this. Usually a holiday special is just an excuse to take us to some generic lands and call it story progression, but here, it's genuinely creative and on theme for monsters.
A cruise? But it's just like a hotel on the water.
I just realized why Sweet Life of Zack and Cody moved to Sweet Life on Deck.
You've barely been out of the hotel since Mom died.
Wait, wasn't the hotel thing started after she died in the first place? So now we're on the Titanic-esque cruise. Time for a collection of back-to-back gags with some of the monster characters. Dennis's arc, meanwhile, is trying to sneak Tinkles onto the boat. And as for Dracula...
First ever monster cruise!
And then the gags continue. Vlad is ogled, the blob vomits a child, and the werewolves drop off their kids.
Whatever we want, whatever we want, whatever we want. Stop! Help me!
You know, this feels a lot more normal when you realize the fish is voiced by Jerry from Rick and Morty. Dude always ends up at daycares.
Whatever.
Wait, what?
All right, come on, Jerry.
Anyway, getting back to the actual plot, you probably know where it's already going. Captain Erica is in fact the great-granddaughter of the ancient Van Helsing.
They're animals.
Did we really have to reveal his look straight away? Couldn't it have been better if we revealed it a little bit later, you know? Instead of just immediately Robot Man? Could have revealed that he's actually alive. All this granddaughter stuff and then Big Boy, no? No? Alright.
Or are we too scared to infer mortality to any children? Anyway, it's evil exposition time. For 126 years, Abraham has been planning this scheme. After finding Atlantis, he needs to use the weapon that sank it to destroy all the Lord monsters at once. All Erica has to do is not kill Dracula immediately. So here she is trying to do so immediately. All of course failing, and all of course performed to the beat of 24-karat magic. It's funky to watch until you realize it's the same punchline that Blobby over here just takes all the hits. Time for some family fun with water volleyball. Don't know how the bandaged guy survives the water, but I love the framing for Frank here.
Sure, pal. Whatever you say.
And a few more punchlines later, we reach our second destination, the underwater volcano. Not quite as impactful as the Bermuda Triangle or Atlantis, is it? But hey, it's an opportunity for some underwater antics and gags. More storyless gags. As for the little story that is shown, it's more of the same. Erica gunning for Drac and him surviving. Kinda cool that this sequence is obviously one big dialogue-less scene, but... the music's not even synced up! And it's not beatsy, just generic soundtrack orchestral stuff. Wouldn't this be a good spot for some mainstream slosh? Anyway, plot continues. Now Mavis spots something and the boys hear Erica complain and perceive it as adoration for Drac. Time to push Dracula into asking her out on a date.
Your delicious neck wrappings are in a nice coffin. Would you like to see my parts?
The internet would love that. Meanwhile, Dennis's arc actually connects to the plotline, with Tinkle sniffing out the secret passage and Evering cornering down Van Helsing. Cool. I hope they do more with that. Next stop, Deserted Island. Not really a good monster locale. Drac now takes the opportunity to get on with that date of his, hiding it from Mavis by lying to her face as he usually does about how he's spending time with Dennis instead. This is your standard trope, but after all the selfish crap Drac went through last movie, I guess it's just on brand. Still toxic. Beach gags! Beach gags! Everyone gets beach gags! And Mavis learns of her dad's crush through Johnny, who can see it a mile away. Hey, I guess Johnny does contribute something to this plot. Drax date, you probably saw in the trailers.
I'm garlic intolerant.
Quality. Anyway, Mavis finds out Drax isn't with Dennis after her personal dolphin surfing date night. What a great grandfather.
Since my wife died.
How old was your daughter?
You know, about 32. Monster logic.
Everything immediately comes to a head. Man, the deserted island has loads of plot, with Mavis crashing the date. Erica expels herself, Drax awkwardly lies his way away, and Mavis eats some garlic.
Aw, that was a cute toot, honey.
I cannot fathom how much some corner of the internet loved that.
And off we sail. Hey, you should subscribe. I also do all these other things too. Bye-bye. Remember the wolves? Probably having my favorite arc of the film? Yeah, they're done now. Say goodbye to them until the ending. Why? Because now Van Helsing just has to make an appearance above deck. All he had to say was not long now. Maybe remind us of the ultimate weapon, I guess, because here we are. The lost city of Atlantis, protected by a giant kraken that... There's a place you've gotta be. Reminds me of that Tamatoa scene from Moana, just outright. Thanks for that contribution, Joe Jonas. Turns out Atlantis is just one big monster Las Vegas. Is this creative, or is this a generic human spot with a lazy slick of paint? Anyway, there's a whole 2 character gags here, so even if it's not, the writing juices are still running low. And I checked in the background. This Skeller lady doesn't even emote with her slot machine, and the screen full-on just loops halfway through the shot. But forget the casino, we're following Erica and Dracula and Mavis to the uncharted parts, where Erica eventually finds the ultimate weapon and Dracula saves her life. And again, until it becomes a whole dance number. Actually, quite a fun sequence that fit right into a cartoon if it hasn't been done already. And since we've started 12 booby traps that definitely kill Erica, let's just have everything go wrong for her all last minute. She could never possibly have succeeded without him. And then Mavis pops up.
What are you doing to my father?
And this lasts about 5 seconds.
Then Mavis's arc of feeling conflicted about having a stepmom, and an evil one at that, is done. Also, now Erica breaks up with Jack on the realization that
I could never be with a monster.
What, did you only just realize the implications now? You went through the whole dance moment and only now switched the other way round like it's a fresh surprise? Somebody's forcing a third act sadness time.
But first, we'll draw them in with a dance party.
To be fair, that's almost cunning for a basic kids movie. And so everyone's here on the dance floor. Drac is sad and Johnny says some smart words by quoting a TV show, and Mavis goes to right her wrongs. She's not allowed internal parental conflicts.
Hey man, you're not allowed up here. The DJ booth is a sacred space!
Hey wow, we have an actual callback here.
DJ booth is a sacred space!
Van Helsing's here for the main event and Erica is up here with him, hesitantly. Time to reveal the ultimate weapon.
Of course, the treasure is a music number.
It's some bassy, EDM, yet ancient song that activates the Kraken's bad side. Though, I quite like all the ensemble running shots with this hallway. All 3 of them. Tinkles bites, these guys die, Blob Boy gets an overly emotional flyover shot, and Dracula gets squeezed as well.
No! Who would have seen that coming?
And so, like you've seen in a million cartoons before, the evil love interest turns out to have empathy for the protagonist. I've watched Sonic and Hercules, Frozen, and hell, Spy Kids 3D has it too. She pokes Kraken's eyeballs, catches Dracula, and drops Dracula anyway. Rip in peace, the end.
It's time to start a new legacy.
A monster-human legacy.
The internet would love that too.
Anyway, people may be happy, but the actual villain hasn't been conquered yet.
Drac! Van Helsing's beats are controlling the giant octopus thingy.
We're gonna use good music to defeat his evil music.
Yes, you heard that right. They turned the big conflict against the bad guy, Mr. 126 years and counting supervillain, the guy who fought with laser guns 100 years ago, into a DJ battle nowadays. This is the most children's movie thing I ever heard. I'm picking up good vibrations. And I'll say it, Johnny isn't a great DJ. Sure, the song is good, but for this context, I don't think it fits, especially against mind-numbing EDM, so we go through more.
So don't worry. Be happy.
Again, bad choice, and I feel a lot of kids probably won't be into this kind of old school stuff, you know? Ironic, I know, since this is supposed to be anti-evil music. I'm getting real sick of the motif of this evil EDM. But it all comes to a climax here. One final move from Kraken requires one final song, the most brain-dominating one in existence. This whole movie has been one big brain-dominating sensory overload. Has it been terrible up to this point? Yes, by design. Throughout this whole experience, we've had the plotline of your average episodic cartoon. And even looking at the fourth one, Transylvania, yeah, I've seen this in cartoon episodes too. The storyline for this franchise has become as lazy as it can get. It is flat, to the point that there is literally more filler in this film, gags, than plot. So alright, this may be a terrible movie, but maybe for a comedy-filled cartoon, it's alright. This project focuses so much on its little gags, so let's review them. I have a history in comedy, damn it. The Blob never makes me laugh. The most it can get out of me is... Okay, what the fuck? Even if it is the director's voice. I like the goggles reveal on this guy. This joke is great.
Dad? Johnny?
But this one of Johnny randomly hitting a pillar has to be his worst. Frank's bride is annoying with her hair joke in the pool, but at least the back massage one is creative. Frank's gambling joke is meh, but I love this. Dennis's best joke is the one I imagine. Dennis' worst has to be...
It's our friend Bob. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
It's random and stupid and already done once for laughs. Where's the third one? Rule of three, anyone? The wolf drop-off is great. I love the frown. Vlad roaring at the bull is fun. And am I a boomer for actually enjoying the gross-out witch-ogling? This joke is too easy. The loved-up gibberish is poor quality and way overdone, and I still don't get Murray's pain jokes. On the cruise, he doesn't even have anything. In fact, what does he or Griffin do to this plot? Not even jokes. I think part of the issue is the fact that the whole ensemble had to join, and it makes the film so bloated with people. It'd be cool if everyone connected to the plot somehow. I liked Tinkle's finding a secret, maybe having an arc of hunting Helsing in the background, but most everyone else exists on board, contributing little to any plot. Is there even a B plot in this movie? Mavis never confronts Erica despite having clear conflicts. We'd never touch on stepmother relationships, and we never will, because this movie is written to be so simple, it's afraid of anything with depth. Even dialogue has to remain quirky, whether it's 1897,
When will you Van Helsings ever learn to let go of the hay?
or whether you're 126 years old.
Oh, girl, it's an improvement, really.
So unfitting, but it doesn't matter to this film. That being said, the animation has been fantastic. It's a bad movie, but as a cartoon, this is phenomenal. It's an extended classic episode, or generic. And at the end of the day, this movie is great entertainment, especially for children. Do I wish the story was better? Oh, of course. This is insultingly dumbed down, which is a massive shame for such a well-directed spectacle. But whether it's a director's choice or Sony's, this can never be more than a basic kids film that is baked into the design, and clearly continuing on. It deservingly splits audiences. Drac is a horrible, selfish person, Mavis is surrounded by immature people, the writing cares little for small details, and all is predictable from start to finish. But it is all a joy to observe, however diluted and basic it is. Well, apart from our big finale song. And of course, in true animated movie fashion, everyone and their mother hops on to dance along with it. Does this song choice get a pass? It is brain dominating, I'd say. Not sure it'd win in a head-to-head battle, but sure. And so the Macarena overpowers all. Van Helsing too is forced to dance. He randomly falls off a cliff and is saved, actually. Man, we really can't handle any mortality in these movies, can we?
Why would you save my life?
Because basically we are all the same.
Green skin.
No skin.
Prickly.
Rainy.
That's not even a lot of options. It's all a nod to how deep down we're all the same regardless of our differences. Hey, wait a minute, it's more complex than that. Didn't we just learn from Trolls World Tour that we should be celebrating our differences and not just act blind to variations? Are you seriously telling me that the second Trolls movie is more thematically deep than the third Hotel Transylvania movie? So then Van Helsing gives all the refund and is added to the official ensemble, because we needed more. Dracula zings again, which is just stamping on Mavis's mother's letter at this point, and we return to the hotel for our epilogue. The werewolves booked another cruise, a fish staff checks in, and Frank and Murray are opening a bottle. What a way to cram in your characters. All leading to Dracula pulling Erica to the rooftop to then immediately propose to her after an unneeded pause and some ensemble peer pressure. And that's your ending. Credits now! This movie ends as fast as it runs, at breakneck speed with little care for intricacies. Hotel Transylvania 3 is a terrible movie, but a great cartoon. We begin in another flashback opener.
I see the crystal raindrops fall.
And it's right into a pop song that's somehow sung in like 1902. But it shows a young Mavis and her connection with her father in the early days of the hotel as she grows more and more in their dance before we reach the hotel's 125th anniversary. And now Johnny's in the picture.
Just the three of us.
Hey, at least the song choice is thematic. And the film continues to do its thing where people move in the most extreme poses possible, whilst the plot is kind of that same one we've had in every movie. Let's see where this goes next.
Very fine and...
Oh! Very Phineas. I don't get it, do you? Oh, Jesus Christ, this is madness. And yet, the color effects are really nice with the glow-in-the-dark aesthetic, as well as all the fire lighting as well. Visually, it's all so stunning, but overstimulating-wise... yeah, it's very that. What a cacophony. So Drac freezes time to avoid certain death.
Johnny did all of this for you. He was trying to make this day special.
Apparently, after 3 full films of being next to Johnny, Mavis 2 has now become dumb as bricks. How disappointing. And so, Drac turns everything around and has a break outside.
Yoo-hoo! You ready for your big speech, Honey Fangs?
Oh yeah, she's now part of the roster too. I forget every movie likes to add like 17 new characters into the ensemble. Anyway, while Drac begins wildly emoting at every other word in a cliche monologue, Erica, that's her name, then blurts out the word...
Retire. You retire. You retire.
Retire?
To which Drac starts thinking about the thought of it, and turns around to say...
Everything has to be perfect when I finally give the hotel to Mavis.
What?
What? Is this a surprise, Mavis? Who else is gonna do it? Your dead mother? The only question you should really be asking is why is Drac retiring when he lives so long? Your granddad's still kicking around for some reason. And so after eavesdropping it all, Mavis goes on to tell Johnny the good news as well, and he's excited. You can see it. Only for him to turn around and blurt out for the first time that he doesn't really feel like part of the family.
I mean, it feels like I am, but not really.
Which almost shows a hint of that deeper wisdom he had in the first movie, but let's be honest, this perspective is just coming out of nowhere to fuel the plot, as Johnny felt nothing like this in HT2 or 3. So he goes to flather it off on a walk, and then exposes the secret immediately to Drac, who cannot stomach the idea of a Hotel Johnny. So he gives Johnny the lie that he can't legally pass the hotel onto a non-monster, and now has to announce something original now that he's on the spot.
Oh, you've got to announce something.
And the camera is pretty nice, with it tracked onto his body. The animation behind this movie and the directorial choices are still seriously stellar. It's really frustrating, honestly.
Expand! Yes! We are expanding the hotel.
What?
And so he gets out of it, and the party resumes.
Take it away, Blobby.
Oh, dance parties. I hate dance parties. Why have animated movies always got dance parties these days? Where is your child from the last movie, Blobby? Is that our only canonical death? Are you a bad father, Blobby? And so, the story beats are exactly as you can predict. Whilst the crew of monsters dance away in the background, Drac bumps into Erica and claims he cannot hear her over the music and dances away. Only to bump into Mavis now, and do the exact same thing back and forth. You know, with cliches like this, the movie just writes itself. And then there's Johnny in the middle.
So, you want to become a monster, huh?
And you can guess where this plotline too goes now. Though first, I really like Van Helsing's laboratory, being a complete maze of pigeonholes that only he can fit into with his sporadic robot body. Genuinely a lot of fun to play with. And then Johnny gets hit with a monster gun.
Ugh. I don't feel so good. No.
Why did it start from there? You don't think this was intentional, do you? Oh no. And so a few smear frames later that are somehow not as extreme as just talking, Johnny becomes a monster. Uh-oh. Nice. And a really nice spin on the idea. If Johnny is a genuine wild monster, then it's like, how do the rest of the monsters try to calm him down and incorporate it into the group or something like that? So then back to Drac, and he's still avoiding the other girls, only to magically hear the disruptions downstairs and come to investigate himself, creeping into Van Helsing's room and confronting this new Johnny Beast.
Hey Drac, what's up?
Oh, so he's not wild at all. It's just Johnny still with another skin. Great. And now he's dying to show Mavis, which will expose Drac. So he chases Johnny down the halls with the human setting on, and naturally Johnny is running headfirst into every wall for maximum property damage, because he doesn't have any brain cells up there anyway.
I better be careful. There are monsters everywhere.
And finally, after this whole chase sequence somehow goes on for a whole 2.5 minutes, it finally comes around with...
Oh no.
He never hit a mirror or anything, just a particularly shiny elevator. And considering he's now human, that's death. That's definitely death. And so the core friends come out to review the crash site. Thankfully, Drac wasn't there to be bloody meteor smashed by Johnny into the concrete. He's up there, where we can't see his details. And when we do... Oh, it was just my 4-inch fangs. They turned into molars. Ah, very devastating. Not at all underwhelming. And now I won't cut my own chin when I eat food. Ah! Oh my god! I mean, it's not that different. And of course, the crystal rod thing is out of juice now. And Drac wants to hide from Mavis. Time to see Van Helsing, who can direct them to a new crystal.
South America?
So after the third movie already had us traveling outside our usual means, now we're doing it again with just Drac and Johnny. But hey, at least they remember the one thing that was smart about Johnny from the first movie.
I was there once spelunking with some Norwegian wrestlers. We can just pop down there and get a new one.
Except now, it's not really wisdom. Stupidity has made its way into his lore. Alright. Meanwhile, the core friend group learn about it through text.
I just sent him a GIF.
I don't know if I want to say this is outdated or on point, since this is how middle-aged people do still text, in outdated ways. Anyway, they all drink a toast, and Blobby's involved too. And you'll never guess where this is going. Yes, because in Drac's chasing escapades earlier, he shot the ice statue when it all leaked into the punch. Everyone here's turning human too. You know, I heard there was also a good dose of controversy over Griffin's revealed design, as it seems awfully mocking to the anti-Semitic caricature, which is just awful on Hotel Trans's front. Though I also heard this guy gained sexy man status in 2021 when he was still invisible. Anyway, yikes. Everyone's ugly, Frank is not. Ha! That's hilarious! And Blobby becomes inanimate. Meanwhile, I guess fresh off of the few compliments that the third movie got, they've decided to bring back the Gremlins pilots again. Except this time Drac is a human, so he's more scared of the hazards. He still seems pretty indestructible, being a cartoon, but it ends with him being flailed off the back of the plane. That's better. They had like 3 jokes left for this gimmick, so they had to drag it out somehow. As for Mavis, she is searching for her dad and comes across the speech that reveals Drac was gonna give her the hotel, and susses something is happening when she spots the kids in their hypnotized state. Another thing from that 2-minute chase sequence earlier. As for Drac and Johnny, they have arrived, and for the first time in all of his life, Drac is now able to experience the sun since it doesn't burn him anymore. Ah, what a magical moment, and he's running around blind for staring directly at it, twirling this way and that until Johnny saves him. Why do none of the humans comment on the fact there's a giant lizard monster now? And don't tell me it's because of the ending of Hotel 1. This is just lazy writing that they didn't want to address. And he accidentally breathes fire. Oop, it's the other monster plot, the other way around. Ugh. Time to move on and not address it for another 40 minutes. Now, back in Van Helsing's lair, we get to witness his monster hamster again. This thing was the test before Johnny was zapped, and now it's exploded to be even more beastly. An ominous sign, again shot with a pretty funky camera angle. I love how dramatic that cage piece comes off. And we're back to the jungle.
Don't worry, Drac. I've got an idea.
This is the worst commuting experience of my life. As a Brit, I desire nothing more than some personal space and some peace and quiet. And actually, this could be kind of nice as we see how Johnny interacts with strangers on his travels like he did back in the day. But instead, all the families here are silent, and again, are not going to address his form, which, by the way, is getting larger and larger. Weighing down the bus, so Johnny chooses to carry the bus itself. And Drac has been whittled down into the subject of nonsense pain humor instead. My favorite. Could have been a whole element of how humans are more fragile than vampires, so he's got to be careful. But no, middle-aged man just has to feel every neuron of pain. Back at the hotel, the core group of boys are trying to hide after their humanly revelations, only to end up in the foyer with Mavis and Erica and Eunice as well, of course. Only to almost get away until... because that's natural. And from there, not only does everybody immediately know what's going on with all the boys here, oh, werewolf wife Wanda is also here, and the kids, but also at some point, the whole road sequence with Johnny earlier was caught by the humans, who now videotaped it and sent it out to the news. But it's all so convenient for Mavis and Erica to spot on the TV that wasn't established earlier where Drac and Johnny are, and what they look like now.
I was not supposed to say that out loud.
Well, I'm happy at least. I found my thumbnail. Now just add a big obnoxious. And there we go. And add a little guy over there. Because that's the trend. That's the theme. It works. Marketing. Where's my forehead? Hey, what do you think the odds are next time we see Drac he's gonna be writhing in pain? Ah, that sounds about right. Oh, but also this time Johnny gives him a complete makeover. I don't know where he got the clothes, dunks Drac's entire coffin in the bag, and then runs on ahead. Cue the extreme montage of walk suffering. Cutting through different locations, having nature hate Dracula at every turn, including that cliche hay fever sneezing joke being rained on for a gag and then it's suddenly not raining anymore, until finally the old man twists his ankle and falls down a hill. It's the one joke dragged along for 40 minutes so far, until eventually Drac's about to give up until they spot a body of water.
You gotta be extra careful with strange bodies of water.
Oh hey, a hint of Johnny intelligence. Of course, Drac still dives in and... you know, at this point, it's getting pretty sadistic, to be honest. And I always hated when cartoons did this. Made me feel sick as a kid. Genuinely. I have a childhood memory of feeling physically sick when hearing the Oggy and the Cockroaches theme tune, because that show went too far. And so, since Drac is ignoring his phone and Johnny isn't being called at all, the girls try to work out what's going on themselves.
It's not like there's a mad scientist just living in the basement. Oh.
Oh. And then they spot the whole hamster situation and trap him. I guess there's the action scene I was hoping for earlier. But they must now go catch up to Johnny as...
Turns out the ray's highly unstable. The transformation keeps mutating.
So off they go. But not before Drac has another scene of pain. Now it's mosquitoes, biting en masse until Johnny smacks him down with his big beastly claws. Oh, also Johnny is briefly unstable at the start, but they won't address that until the finale. They had an airship this entire time? And Van Helsing didn't want to mention it? Alright. Signal has now wiped out on the crystal, and they both drop off of a cliff. Only for Johnny to finally come to the realization that he can fly. He's had wings this entire time, and Drac is there to teach him. Good times! And now it's nighttime. I guess that whole car escapade wasn't really all that efficient after all. But anyway, Drac and Johnny are sitting by the campfire. It's time for their own heart-to-heart, whereby Johnny tells Drac to look for the positives in life, like the gooey insides of a marshmallow. Which just leads me to ask, why was Drac cooking a marshmallow in the first place if he didn't know the concept of the gooey goodness? And Drac turns around and explains the reason he's so on edge is because he's been looking after a daughter for all of these years, and the hotel was built to protect her. And before he can explain the lie he said earlier, of course, we get everyone else. Only for them to still reach the same topic of conversation as Drac's lie gets exposed in front of all of them now.
I panicked!
And lied?
To which Johnny gets upset, enlarges a little more, and stamps out a scene. It's all Dracula's fault. Again.
All you care about is your stupid hotel!
And so Mavis goes on to follow the giant Johnny, catching him at the very last possible moment, considering he's pushing on Godzilla proportions now, and he recognizes her.
Mavis?
My dad never should have lied to you!
Dracula!
Meanwhile, everyone else is on the boat, which was the car before, but now is not. The crystal is inside there, and Drac is haunted by Van Helsing's words earlier that escape is impossible. But the directing here is nice. And so begins the deadly entrance. Waterfalls, lava chutes, stalactites, close calls, and a sinking ship. You know, considering there was a hole in the boat that they couldn't plug, I was seriously expecting Blobby to come in clutch. After all, we saw how much he expands with water earlier. But no.
We found it.
And now Mavis is on the task to get Johnny over there.
Is he close?
Yep.
Whilst everyone else is exploring the crystal cave. There's certainly a lot of crystals, ready for all sorts of funky directorial shots. Nice. Why couldn't this just be a TV episode with pizzazzy cinematography? And then, of course, Mavis is having her cliche run from the monster scene, which at first I was thinking, why doesn't she just fly higher to be out of the danger zone? But actually, they sort of explain it. The sun is coming up, so she has to stay in the canyon shade. Nice. And as Mavis reunites with her dad in there...
Oh, ouchie!
Somewhat, the whole place comes crashing down from Johnny. Cue more gags. Blobby doing parkour while inanimate. Murray's not moving. Wayne has too many kids. But, and my personal favorite...
If he ruins my hair, I'm never gonna forgive him!
And Drac, after his big collapse, finally witnesses...
Is that...
The crystal!
To which Mavis grabs and equips it in 8 seconds flat. I guess when they don't want to drag something out, they really don't. And her final obstacle is sunlight itself as Godzilla Johnny keeps punching holes in the wall. Until...
Huh?
Hey, kiddo.
This is quite nice. Everyone now needs to be involved in blocking the sun for Mavis to take the shot. Or she could just shoot herself for a minute. To become human, of course. And then she wouldn't have to deal with the sunlight. Or literally anyone else could do it, no? But sure, she keeps on going, hurdle after hurdle, until...
Okay, Johnny, please still be in there. What?
Doesn't work, only for Dracula to immediately jump into action. Ooh. Well, I guess the hotel's yours, Mavis. Congratulations. Or in more kid-friendly fashion, it goes down like this.
You are the marshmallow!
Huh? Drac exposites that in not looking for positivity, he did not notice Johnny. The joy and energy he brings to his life and those around him. His life before was like a burned marshmallow, and he cracked it open for all to enjoy. And he is part of the family.
And I'm sorry it's taken me so long to say it.
And what nice composition still. And so...
So much of the good in my life is because of you.
Drac?
And as they hug it out, now they are shootable, and Mavis takes the shot. And so they blimp away. Everyone returns to their previous states, more gags ensue, until we get our last heart-to-heart where...
Johnny, you're perfect, just the way you are.
And as for Dracula, to finally loop us round to the whole point of the story in the first place...
The hotel is...
destroyed!
We've been ignoring that hamster this whole time, and that was the cause. Oh, well, doesn't it kind of ruin the whole tension of the Johnny thing if even this thing doesn't have an immunity to being shot? I guess there never was a chance of running out of time, since this thing was transformed first and reverted later, right? Johnny just couldn't be shot for plot reasons. This franchise doesn't care. However, at least it's coming to a plausible end, as after all,
it's your hotel now.
It's time for that new chapter Drax's been thinking about, and he is retiring. Oh, and we're cutting to a year later from here? Okay.
We just made a couple of tiny adjustments.
Huh? What the? Why is everything a PNG now? No, not me too! What have you done? No! They chose to rebuild it exactly the same, except inside it's 2D. And it's got modern changes that is literally what Dracula devoutly feared at the start of the movie. So what does he have to say now? Just a shrug. Hee hee, hoo hoo. And that was the end of the Hotel Transylvania series. Right? I hope so. Gone with the Wind is any sense of logic. A funky looking cartoon, but shallow in the nicest of terms. Well, congratulations, you made it all the way into the Hotel Transylvania franchise, not including the 2D cartoon TV series they made, and the upcoming Motel Transylvania as well. We will eventually get around to covering those two prompts as well, and hey, maybe we'll make a full-blown amazing out of the first movie. Give me another few years and I'll have it all done. But for now, I'd best finally give you a break. I hope you had fun going through all the hotel movies. My name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching this far in, and I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio!